What stood out to me here isn't the interior designs themselves, it's how quickly Claude turned an abstract idea into multiple visual directions. That's a bigger shift than most people realize. The real value isn't that AI can generate concepts, it's that it can help you explore dozens of possibilities before you commit time and money to one. Most viewers will focus on the final images, but the interesting part is the speed of iteration happening underneath. We're moving into a world where the bottleneck is becoming judgment, not creation, and that's a very different way to think about creative work. What stood out to me here isn't the website itself, it's how little friction there was between the idea and the execution. A few years ago, building something like this meant jumping between designers, developers, and a bunch of different tools. Now a tool like Claude can sit much closer to the actual workflow. Most people will focus on how fast the final result appeared, but the part they'll miss is that speed compounds. When testing an idea takes minutes instead of days, you end up exploring way more possibilities and making better decisions. That's the real shift happening with AI right now, not just generating things, but dramatically reducing the cost of iteration. The most interesting thing here isn't the animation itself, it's the fact that a language model is starting to contribute to work that used to live entirely inside specialized creative tools. Most people will look at the final visuals and think, that's cool, but the bigger story is that the distance between an idea and a polished asset keeps shrinking. When AI can help with planning, iteration, and execution in the same workflow, creative teams spend less time wrestling with tools and more time making decisions. And honestly, that's the part a lot of people still underestimate. The real advantage isn't better content, it's faster feedback loops. What stood out to me here isn't that Claude helped build a website, it's that it helped create an experience. Most people will look at the visuals, the animations, and the finished product, but the bigger story is that AI is starting to participate in creative direction, not just execution. That's a really important shift because the value isn't coming from generating code anymore, it's coming from helping people move from an idea to a polished interactive experience much faster. And honestly, the part most people will miss is that the competitive advantage isn't the model itself. It's how quickly you can test, refine, and ship ideas when AI becomes part of the workflow. The thing that stood out to me here isn't Claude, Obsidian, or Notebook individually, it's what happens when you connect them into a system. Most people will focus on the AI outputs, but the real advantage is creating a workflow where information gets captured, organized, and reused automatically instead of starting from scratch every time. That's a much bigger shift than having a smarter model. The part most viewers will miss is that long-term leverage in AI isn't coming from prompts, it's coming from knowledge systems. The people getting the biggest results aren't necessarily using better AI, they're building better environments for AI to think inside. What stood out to me here isn't that Claude helped generate a website, it's how quickly it turned a vague idea into something tangible. Most people will look at the finished Airbnb-style page and think the impressive part is the code, but honestly, the code is becoming the easy part. The bigger shift is that AI is compressing the gap between imagination and execution. What a lot of viewers will miss is that this changes how people experiment. When building a prototype takes minutes instead of days, you stop overthinking ideas and start testing them. And that's where the real advantage comes from, not having better ideas but being able to validate more of them, faster.